Okay, let's have a look at the gates. We said we have 3 gates for the blood system to move out into the arms, to the neck. Gate 1 is on the side of the neck. It's the scalene muscles, scalene anterior and medium and posterior, and the vein and the artery into the arms going through there. So if they contract or if they have a spasm, if they're tight, they can press on the artery or the vein, and we have a problem with the blood flow into the arm. So how do we test the first gate? The shoulders is vertical, we have 90 degrees angle here, and I open the hand like a waiter is carrying the drinks. So what I want to do now, I want to measure the pulse of the radial artery. I bring the head in side bending away and rotation away, and I feel if the pulse is disappearing or if it's strong. Okay. So if it's strong means no problem with these muscles here. If it's disappearing, meaning I put stress on the muscle and they close. So we have to loosen up the fascia and the muscles of the neck. If we check the second gate is between clavicle and first rib. So the blood vessels come out here, move behind the clavicle and enter here to the front again between clavicle and rib. So what we're going to do to test is to push the clavicle onto the rib. So for this the arm is down a little bit extended. I feel the pulse, head a little bit to the side, and now I push the shoulder onto the first rib and see if I still can feel the pulse or it's disappearing. Same here, disappearing means this gate's closing, so we have to loosen up this gate here. The third gate is the minor pectoral muscle, the little pectoral muscle coming from rib 2, 3, 4, and moving to the process coracoideus, this little tip on the scapula to here. So for this, we take the pulse again, then move the arm up, straight up, and I push the scapula to the front. And again the same, if the pulse is disappearing, I have to work on this muscle. So I do this on both sides. And it's often really helpful to know, is it the neck, is it the rib, or is it the muscle? So for the rib, if you want to loosen up the rib, it's good, you can do this manipulation. It's good for the TH1, 2, 3, but also for the first, second, third rib. So if you have a blockage here, you think, loosen up the rib with this manipulation. Okay. Let me have a look at the shoulder line your side, please. We did some shoulder mobilization. The shoulder blade has, or the shoulder has 4 joints. So we try to mobilize all 4 of them. So first we have a look at the thoraco-scapular or subscapular joint, which is the scapula to the ribs. So just do first a little rotation of the shoulder. Then you can go with your fingers or with your toes, technically from Thai massage, under the inner edge of the scapula, bring the shoulder on top of it, and then you can lift up and release the subscapularis muscle, our trash muscle who likes to collect trash and gets very immobile and creates a lot of problems for the shoulder mobility. So just do some cleaning of the shaking of the wings, the angel wings. Exactly. They also can do the washing board technique. So I'm pushing the scapula down onto the ribs, and I do some movement up and down also rotating movement. So create some friction between the subscapularis muscle and the serratus muscle and the ribs, which holding the scapula on the ribs. In side position I can also work with the neck fascia. If I fix the occiput and I fix the shoulder and stretch these 2 points apart, I work with the superficial fascia. If I dig my fingers behind the clavicle, I place my thumb on the jaw and I stretch these 2 points away. I work more with the deeper fascia. Then we had a look at the acromion clavicular joint, which is this little corner here. Often this ligament who connects this joint, it gets really tight and we lose the movement in the shoulder here. So we find the clavicle. I dig my fingers behind the clavicle. The other fingers look for the spine of the scapula. I find this corner and I try to open this corner a bit. So for this I put some pressure onto the shoulder joint to open up this triangle already, and then I work with some opening movements to open this triangle here. To open up the first rib and the clavicle, I go below this clavicle, fix the first rib with my fingers and push the shoulders towards the ear to open up the space or to mobilize the space between first rib and clavicle. Then let's go to the shoulder joint itself. So it is push and pull technique. So when I move the arm back, I push to the front with my thumb. If I move my arm to the front, I push back with your fingers. It's a nice opening of the shoulder capsule, which is often very tight in the front and stiff in the back. Then we would like to open the recess of the shoulder capsule. So we fix the shoulder blade onto the rib cage, and with my arm I move direction ear. I'm opening to the ear. So don't do any internal or external rotation. Really stay in this position, and we try to open this recessus, this little pocket, which can often get very sticky, especially people not moving their arms properly and sit at the computer all day, or after a broken arm, you have the arm in a sling for 6 weeks. It's really beneficial to open this pocket to gain a lot of the shoulder movement. Right. So lie on your back. On the back, we also can mobilize the shoulder, so we put the wrist in my groin, grab the shoulder, the upper arm, the head of the arm, and I'm moving in, moving up, moving out, moving down. Mobilizing movement of the shoulder joint. Or I move ear up, pelvis, mat, ear. So if one movement is like this, one movement is like this. We can also do this separation of first rib and clavicle, same as in side position. fix the first grip and bring the elbow, the arm, the shoulder direction here. So here we have a little muscle called the subclavicular muscle, which gets often very tight. And with the positional release technique we can release it nicely. So if I press here below the scapula, below the clavicle, and find a tight spot or a painful spot, I place my thumb here, I lift the arm up and maybe a little bit of adduction and find where I get a softening of the tissue, and I hold here for 1 minute or 90 seconds and release. Or I can also work with some friction, some massage of this muscle and this area. Then we have a look at the neck fascia again. So I place the hand into my other armpit, and with my fingers I find the clavicle and dig in under the clavicle, and I'm lifting the shoulder, I'm helping, supporting this movement, and lift the clavicle. This is very good for the neck fascia, but it's also a mobilizing technique for the sternoclavicular joint. So with this technique you mobilize the SC joint. It's a very nice technique. Then we go to the third gate, the pectoral muscle. The pectoral muscle is behind the big one, so we're working with the little one. So you find with my thumb, you go underneath the big pectoral muscle, you feel the ribs, and then I bring my arm into extension, and at the same time I lift the pectoral muscle away from the ribs to build a fixum, a fixed point, to create a stretch of this muscle. Now when all the gates are open, I can start working with the fascia. So again, I place the arm in my groin, find the triceps and the biceps muscle, and between these two, exactly inside in the middle, you see it's like a little valley here, is the fascia where all the blood vessels and the nerves are running. So I sink in, my thumb is vertical, my fingers against it, I sink in to the bone, and then I pull the skin or the fascia apart. So sink in and pull it apart. I want to stretch the fascia. I work the whole upper arm to the elbow. Then I grab the elbow, the fascia is coming to the middle of the elbow. So it's easy flex, and I get a good grip, place my thumbs, do internal rotation, external rotation. And then we go on, the fascia goes on between these two bones, in the middle of the lower arm, going to the carpal tunnel. So here we can work with all the fingers, so the fingers sink in and also separate or open up the fascia. Then you want to open up the carpal tunnel a little bit, which often gets very tight. So I do this rotating movement with the little hand bones to free them up a little bit and to open the carpal tunnel. So now the fascia is open, the gates are open. What we can do now is the blood stop. So we show the sitting blood stop. So bring the upper arm onto my calf, and hands up, because that's where the blood vessels are, and just sit down, and I sit for 1, 2, 3 minutes. Yeah? And then I move to the other side. So now we have a look at the 1-2 techniques for the neck. We finish up. So we set the gate here between the scalene muscles. So we try to mobilize the scalene muscles a little bit. And there's this nice mobilizing technique of the neck, which is very soft and very effective. So my upper hand is on the forehead, and I'm moving the forehead left and right. With my other hands, I go behind, and when I move the head away from me, I'm bringing the neck back to me. It's again as a pull and push technique. That's one technique, and you can do a few options. So if you think behind the vertebra, with one finger I hook in on the process transverse. So I bring the head into side bending rotation, and I hook in and bring the vertebra back, meaning I'm mobilizing the vertebrae, the spine. So I can do every vertebra one after the other. 1, 2, 3. I'm moving down the neck. If I go to the side with flat fingers, I bring the head again into side bending rotation. I bring the side of the neck back to me. I work more with the muscles, with the scalene muscles. Mobilize the scalene muscles. Then here we have a big muscle which is called the sternocleidomastoid muscle, coming from behind the ear and going to the clavicle. And this one you can really nicely hook in with the finger. So I hook behind the sternum muscle, and when I rotate the head away, I can lift the muscle back to me. So this muscle is often attached via, not often, it is attached via fascia with the blood vessels going into the neck, into the head. So if this gets really tight, it's influencing the blood circulation into the head. So it's really good to release this fascia behind the clavicle, the sternocleidomastoid muscles. So I hook in, yeah, and then I lift up. I lift the muscle from the neck or from the throat and bring the head back. And then we can go to the front of the sternocleido, and we can move the organs of the neck, the thyroid gland, Schilddrüse, this cartilage here, the bone here, where we do the swallowing, the speaking, often gets a lot of tension. And we set the neck fascia coming to this bone here. So we have too much tension from the heart, this bone gets really tight. So with this movement of the soft tissue in front of the throat, we're mobilizing all these organs and tissue. Also, we have the entrance of the esophagus coming from here, the bottom of the neck, going down. So with this mobilization, you mobilize the entrance of the esophagus. Okay. One in the back, vertebra, scalene on the side, sternocleido, and soft tissue, fascia, organs in the front. then you can of course do all the stuff you know from Thai massage. You can do the stretch again from the fascia. But let's have a look at the atlas. So two techniques you know already. So first, place your fingers next to the occiput in the soft tissue and lift to the occiput lift. Huh? So we place it along the edge of the occiput and I lift my fingers and just wait a little bit till you feel a softening of the attachments of the trapezius and the little neck muscles. And then often the head gets heavy and comes down like this. Then we do some massaging along the occiput. Step 2, just to loosen up the muscles a little bit. And then what I do then is, with one finger, let's take the ring finger, I'm fixing the occiput, and with the other finger I go below the occiput onto the atlas and I do a distraction. I do a little stretch of this area. So one finger fix, the other one finger goes into the atlas and I do a little, I can't see much, I do a little distraction like this. Yeah? Just to bring some space between occiput and atlas. We said atlas is the area where nervous valgus coming out, the valgus nerve, really important for the whole area here and upper and digestive system. And the last technique, we just place our middle finger on the atlas. So we find the edge, the mastoid bone, the little knobbly bit here on the end of the ear, behind the ear, where the sternocleido muscle moves to. And you feel on the side the process transversus of the atlas. And you just hold it. So my middle finger is on the atlas, and I just try to move the atlas a little bit from left to right. This is first like I'm pushing, it's a physical movement. I want to see, is the atlas moving or is there one side restricted? So if I feel one side is going better, one side doesn't want to go, so I push the atlas to the side which goes better and keep it there a little bit. So it doesn't want to go to this side, but on this side he wants to go, so I just bring the atlas to this side and hold it there a little bit. 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then slowly you will feel that the movement's going back into the side where it doesn't want to go, and because you contract or you compress this, or this side is more compressed, it gets the opportunity to release. So we bring it into the position where it wants to go, stay there, and through this the tight area gets soft and is releasing, and then I can do a recheck. And in the end you just hold the atlas, and with my focus, now it's no movement anymore, just with my energy, with my attention, I try to move the atlas from left to right, without movement. And just give him some energetic mobility. And often, because here is the vagus nerves, I hear a lot of noise in the belly, rumbling and so on. This is a sign that we activate the digestive system, but also often the people really dive and relax very deeply. The parasympathetic nervous system comes out here. So we really give a big relaxation to the nervous system. And if you don't want to move the atlas, just stay here, hold it for a few minutes, and it's often enough to release the tension around the atlas just with holding. So it depends on your focus. Okay, and that's it. So we do this neck mobilization, and then we sit here and work with the atlas. We do the occiput lift, the friction, the side bending or the side movement with the holding in the easier position, and then just some focus and some soft or some energetic movement, mobilization of the atlas to finish off the massage. And maybe for last contact, you can do this integration we did already. Hold the neck, the occiput, which is also atlas occiput area. Put your hand on the heart and hold the heart to say bye-bye. Yeah? So. I think we don't do the shoulder bit because we practiced it yesterday. It was just for the camera. You can switch it off now. See you later.